Have you ever seen that piece of junk cast iron, maybe one that's broken? Do you want to turn it into something you can use? Spatula. Let's go ahead and get started. So this is a nickel plated Griswold that's probably worth about $5 as a decoration. But to me, the uniqueness of it, it's actually the only Griswold that I own. I think it's gonna make a really interesting spatula. I found this Griswold skillet in an estate sale, and actually, I'm a Wagnerware person. It's the only Griswold I own, but it's a number 5 nickel plated. It's probably worth about $5 as a decoration, but to me, as a spatula, to you who's interested in turning a cast iron skillet into a spatula, this thing turns out beautiful.
As soon as you get a crack in any of these cast iron skillets, they're pretty much done as users. You can make them into decorations, but I get tired of that and don't really use cast iron as a decoration, so I'm going to make it a user. Cast iron is very crystalline, so the cracks, as they spread, they actually become microscopic, and you can follow this one all the way down. It really wasn't visible to the naked eye, but when I put it under this jeweler's scope, you can see that crack as it just continues to propagate further down in the pan. So what I did is I made a decision to go ahead and drill at the end of that to see if I could stop that from cracking any further.
Now, truth be told, I'm actually a Wagnerware person. That was my love when I discovered my first cast iron skillet, that underneath all that gunk was a Wagnerware. I'll put a link to the video up here where you can go and see that video, the cleanup that I did, one of my older videos, but it's good stuff. If you know more about this skillet, do me a favor, comment down below maybe the history behind it. I haven't done the research on it, but being nickel plated, I bet you there's some pretty good story behind it.
I decided to go with stainless steel wire on this for the welding, just for the corrosion resistance.
Man, I wish I would have caught that on camera. Right around this time in the process is when I dropped it and it went to full on break. But you know what? I was already working on this. I was a little frustrating. It's just more character and more to add to the story.
I didn't necessarily come up with this technique. There are others that are doing it, but I've never really seen it with this extensive of a repair first.
As you can probably tell, I am not a welder, and you don't have to be in order to do this project. I was chasing cracks in this and even learning some about welding on cast iron and preheating it. The welds ended up stacking further and further until I did a heat. Still a few cracks in it, but we're just making a spatula. You don't have to have the expensive welding equipment in order to do this. Some of these cheaper sets, it's good enough. It's enough to go ahead and just do that spot work around the house that you may want to do.
With the struggles that I was having with the cracking in that crystalline structure in the cast iron, I decided to go ahead and do a preheat and hope that maybe it would help with some of the contraction and expansions and the forces that were being put on those weak spots in the cast iron. There you can actually see how far that heat does spread. And even after post-welding, I went ahead and did a little bit of heating after that, and still there was some cracking, but it was much less severe. I'll put a link down below in the description where you can get any of the gear that you like in this video. You can purchase it.
I know to you, that's part of the story behind the things that you use. Reuse, repurpose. I'm gonna enjoy telling this story as I cook with it.
You pretty much have to treat this as a cast iron skillet from this point forward. It's going to have to be oiled. I'm going to do a little bit of seasoning on it and use my standard seasoning process. Dry it out when I'm done using it. I do it with my pans and skillets. I don't mind doing it with this cool spatula. If you'd like to see a video of the seasoning process that I use, I'll put a link up above that you can click on to see it. Along with seasoning, we'll talk about storing it as we get closer to the end of the video. As I'm doing my standard seasoning, I'll go ahead and throw this in to get a couple more layers on that quote-unquote cooking surface that you see. If you're a fan of chorizo, and if you haven't discovered that chorizo bacon, man, that's good stuff.
Can you believe how this turned out? This is a fantastic way to cook. It's a little uniqueness, it's a little Frankenstein looking, but to me, that's part of the story behind it.
I'm viewing the cleanup and storage just the same way that I do my pans. Quick wash down, wipe down, re-oil, dry, and go ahead and put into storage.
So YouTube says that this video is perfect for your viewing habits. This is my latest upload, and over here is a cast iron playlist you might just like. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, subscribe, share, and come on back for more.